Welcome to Make That Paper, the show where we talk about all the crazy jobs we do to make the cash we need to pursue our artistic dreams.
And for ketchup, because eventually we all have to grow up and empty the condiment packet drawer.
Today, we're getting into the Restaurant Racket, then we'll pivot to the Ambulance Dalliance. We are your hosts, Jaime Parker-Stickle
and Jason Bieber.
And on this episode, we are talking to the creator and host of one of the 10 best comedy podcasts of 2021, according to Vulture. And the AV Club says it's comedic gold.
He's an actor and an improviser, and you can catch him in the current season of the Emmy-nominated and funny as hell Netflix series, I Think You Should Leave, with Tim Robinson.
He is so kind and so funny, and that's why everybody wants to work with him, and so do we.
We are so excited to have him on. Please welcome the magnificent Adam Peacock.
That was so nice.
Woo!
That
was so nice.
We're nothing if not nice.
We try.
That was really cool. Thanks.
It's all true. It's all true. Isn't it nice to hear it back once in a while, having people announce it in the way that it is?
Yeah. Instead of just a morning affirmation.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want to get right into it because I'm having so much fun with all the chitter chatter, but I have to tell you something. I was thinking about this morning, and Adam was an EMS person.
Mm-hmm.
He was an EMS guy. And I was thinking, I have a brother-in-law who's a doctor, but I would literally rather have an EMS individual in the home versus a doctor, because you're better in a crisis. You would know what to do right away. And I feel like my brother-in-law, who's a family practice guy, would be like, well, we should call 911. I literally can hear him in my head go, well, guys, we should call 911. That's what we should do. You would be like, where's my kit? Here it is. Oximeter on the finger.
I think at a time I would have. Now I'd be scared to do it. I haven't done it in several years. So I might be like, let's call your brother-in-law and then figure out what he wants to do.
I call 911.
Yeah. Honestly, I think her brother-in-law would just have a full-blown panic attack.
Sure.
Just everyone is laid out in the middle of the living room, and then no one's useful to anybody. I have so many questions about you working as an EMS as Jaime said, an EMS person, because we don't. Yeah. What's the title? What word?
Emergency medical technician, basic. My license is a
wait,
basic
you were
license.
Okay.
EMT. Okay.
Yeah.
You were an EMT. That's right. Sorry, guys. I have a problem with words. That's why they call me a writer. Let's keep
true.
going.
They are EMS people. You're absolutely right, Jay.
Sure. Yeah. Well, they're not. Yeah. And then you are an EMS. You are an EMT. You had a license.
EMT.
Yeah.
I've been in ambulances a couple of times in my life. The people in them seemed very knowledgeable and professional. Granted, I was in, a chaotic state, but I fully and wholeheartedly put my faith of my own health into them. Never once did it occur to me that somebody might be doing this as a side hustle.
I wasn't really doing it so much as a side hustle as I thought maybe I want to do something in this field, like maybe go on to be a medic or go to nursing school or something. I was kind of thinking of maybe doing that. So that's why I was doing it, to try to get experience.
I think that would have been so cool if you were a nurse, because you're 6'6"? You're the
6'4".
tallest. Okay. One of the tallest people in a photograph I've ever witnessed, number one. And watching you walk into my hospital room and be like, hey, I'm going to put this big old needle in your hand now so that you have an IV would have been delightful. I would have been like, yes, friendly giant, let's do this.
I felt good about that because we worked mostly out of Ann Arbor and with the University of Michigan. And I ran into, I believe, the basketball team at a Whole Foods one time. And I'm not tall. Those guys are really tall.
Those guys are really tall.
Granted, you're not dunking, but unless you are.
No, these are too bad.
Was the EMT van tall enough for you? Or were you doing a lot of crouching?
Yeah, I think so. You definitely had to crouch in the back because it's a pretty small space. But yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
So, you said you had a license. You had to go to, you go to school? Is it a night class? How do you get into this?
When I was in college, I took the class twice. There's an EMS company in Ann Arbor called Huron Valley Ambulance. And I took a class through there. It's a semester long to get your basic, like to get qualified to take the basic exam in the state of Michigan. So 4 months, 2 nights a week, every other Saturday, but the Saturday is like 9 to 5. You're there for 8 hours. And then you have to do a certain amount of clinicals and a certain amount of third rides. So that part only took a semester. So I was done with that. I think January, I got done in like April, May or something.
And
so
at this
you
point,
said,
oh,
well,
go
you
ahead.
said in your notes that at this time you weren't doing comedy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Was there like a fallout and you were like, no, I'm going to go into medicine, like Dr. Ken Jong? Is that his name?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I think I might have just got scared. I got spooked.
Bad set.
And I thought like, oh, this seems like it would, like, I thought I always had an interest in this stuff. And then I guess I do, but not as much as I thought I would.
Well, here's what I always tell people. I really want to be a lawyer on TV. Like,
Yeah.
I would like to rattle off the jargon and be in a scene where I am a badass in court
Yeah.
fighting for something, but not in real life because it's not the same. I want to do it on television.
I kind of have like this sounds so like made up, but I kind of have a story, like a sad, sappy story attached to it too. So
Oh,
so I did the EMS thing, and around the same time of like that year, my dad got sick. My dad got
Oh.
diagnosed with cancer.
I'm sorry.
And so, so you know, it was going on through the summer. Then August rolled around, and my dad died in August. So for the last week of his life, we were all kind of just hanging out with him, and it was, you know, it was nice. But we all kind of took a moment together with him at the end, and like, you know, we were sitting there talking, blah 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 blah, and he was like. He goes, I don't want you to give up doing comedy. And I know that sounds made up, and I know that doesn't sound real, but it's true. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll go do this thing. So like, I know that sounds like such BS, but it's absolutely true.
That's an amazing gift.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen with it. Who knows? Maybe I'll go back to EMS, but at least I did it for my dad.
Yeah.
At least your dad gave you permission to live out your dream, realizing like
It only
life
took
is short, do it all.
6 years.
Yeah.
I had
Wow.
a very similar experience. My father, also cancer, also passed, and not in the last week, but in the final months, he got to watch one of my stand-up shows that I did. You know, he couldn't go, but he watched the tape of it, and
Yeah.
you know, for the first time ever, like it's pretty cute.
Oh, much the same, Jason.
Yeah. And so, you know, for me, that was 100% validation in him saying I should
Sure.
continue doing that for the rest of my life. So I'm doing it for my dad.
And like, you know, my dad and I had kind of a strained relationship. And so I thought maybe that was something kind of cool I could take away from him dying and going through that,
Yeah.
you know, because I love to joke about it. Like that whole week we were with him, you know, because I think he'd think it was funny.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, I think he would laugh at some of the stuff I say about him in that time. So like,
Boy, I hope so.
if not, I'm going to feel real. Yeah.
You were
find out.
just aggravating a dying man.
Oh, poor guy.
Really quick, I just want to ask this because I grew up in Detroit. Where did you grow up in Detroit?
I grew up in Allen Park. I lived in Trenton,
Oh, yeah.
and then I moved to Allen Park, and that's where I did high school.
Oh, okay.
That's where I spent most of my time.
Yeah.
So we mentioned your amazing podcast, but we didn't actually say the name. The name of the podcast is Your Neighbors Are Dead. And what? No,
My neighbors are dead. My neighbors are dead.
neighbors are dead. Well,
My neighbors are dead.
it is your podcast, so your neighbors. No.
Right. And if we talk to somebody else who knows that person, they could say your neighbors are dead. So
Right.
it works.
Which is why I'm right, even though I'm wrong.
You're absolutely right.
Even though I'm wrong.
My
This is
neighbors
what
are
most-
dead.
This is what most of Jamie's and my arguments sound like, by the way.
100%. I'm biting my tongue right now. Just so we know.
And in your podcast, it took me. I started listening to one because we have a lot of friends on them, so I'm like, oh, I'll listen to one with someone I know, and I got so confused because I'm like, oh wait, this is someone I know, but they're playing a character. They're not.
Yeah.
It's not them.
Mhm.
This is a podcast where you, as yourself,
You were
as an
so
interviewer-
concerned. You were like, oh my
Yes.
God, I didn't know he lived next door to a murderer. Like, why hasn't he ever told me this? Jason was like, Jamie. And I was like, what? And he's like, Was it Dwayne's?
I was listening to Dwayne.
Dwayne's, and he was
Yeah.
Jason was so worried for like 10 minutes. And I was like,
I also didn't know he
Jason,
coached football. There's just I
yeah,
was
I mean,
learning
it
so
was,
much about him.
Yeah,
you
there's
were,
a whole new side.
you were just stupefied. And then
Yeah.
finally you were like, oh,
And then
wait
I was
a
like,
second.
oh, I'm not stupefied. I'm stupid.
No.
It was that good though. It was so good. Like we were right.
That's because
in
of
it.
Dwayne. Dwayne's great. So
Well,
that's all because of him.
I listened to 4 more episodes, and it is a great show.
It
And
is a great show.
It's a great concept, and it's really funny. And
No, he listened to 4 more episodes right then. Like he didn't space them out. He was like,
yeah, I binged.
He was addicted. He binged.
Yeah. So
Man.
I've only got 273 more to go.
Is that? Oh God, yeah. I guess there are quite a few.
You whip them out, man. It's amazing. Because this is the side hustle. Everybody makes all their money podcasting. I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, I
Somebody-
know everybody's rich off of it.
Somebody told us we went out for the first time ever and forever, and they were like, your podcast is really successful. Drinks are on you. And I was like, I'm not making any money. Drinks are on you. But then I had to buy drinks because I wanted to show off and be like, it is successful. Here, I'll buy
It's like
drinks.
when your great aunt back in Michigan sees you in a non-union commercial and thinks you have hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Mhm.
Can you pay my rent this month? Why haven't you bought your mother's house yet?
Let me just get 70 more of these and I'll be able to do it.
But I can get you a discount with Stan's Plumbing.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's pretty valuable.
Yeah, and when you need it, certainly when you need it, that 15% comes in handy.
I'm going to make a non sequitur here. So tell me about EMSing. Just kidding. At some point, though, did you go to someone's house? This has just popped in my head, and I have to ask before I lose it. Did you ever go to someone's house and they were hoarders, and you were like, I don't know if I need to address the person or the house first?
Almost exclusively.
Yeah, this is not rural Michigan, but suburban Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not saying that to knock on anybody, but yeah, we saw a lot of that.
Yeah. And
I want to delve all the way in. Can you tell? I mean, without like violating HIPAA, can you tell us some what happened?
So a lot of what we did as basics is my partner and I would run basically transports. We would take people from either to an appointment or from the hospital to home, or it was a lot of that. So a lot of the time we would have to Tetris our way to get people out of homes. And we had one family. We had this one patient of ours who was spectacular. Her family had cut a hole in the porch for us to lift her in and out. I was like, wow, thanks.
Cut a hole.
Or they had cut part of the railing, not a hole, but the railing. They'd cut part of the railing so we didn't have to do an awkward turn down some stairs and stuff. I think I can tell you guys this.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's probably been long enough.
You're not saying their names.
No, I couldn't do.
Right.
But that is that's so interesting. It's interesting. When you rent places in LA, sometimes there are interesting things that you realize that somebody very old had died or lived in that apartment before you got it, because there are some things that are interesting that people have to do when they get old. Yeah. And I have lived in those places.
He and his wife bought a condo recently, and an old man had died in it before and had the chair lift up the stairs, and they had to do a bunch of that remodel. I think they had like a walk-in bathtub, and yeah.
I think if I moved into a place that had the chairlift, it would be tough to take it down.
It would. We walked remember we were in a place and we were like, we should keep this.
We should keep it.
Because it was kind of fun.
You don't even have to use it for your seat. You could just here, I'm gonna put something on it and let it be like a dumb waiter that takes things up the stairs for you.
Yeah.
And then there's the old lady in Gremlins. I would have to try that too.
Do you remember that house we went to and the person was literally in hospice and they were showing the house as the person was there. And they were and we were like, we have to go now. And they're like, no, just see the rest of the house and the potential. And we were like, that person's in that room dying and it's open. There's no doors.
You have a living human being who's covered in a sheet of gauze.
We had a lot of hospice patients that we dealt with, and it's remarkable what a family goes through when that's happening, and just how matter of fact, how you're describing, Jamie, of just this has to be done. It's almost like, I know they don't because you're not with them all the time, but it's almost like they're the void of emotion because they have to be, because they have to do that stuff. It's terrifying. It's horrible.
At some point, did that inform your comedy? Like you were glad for the work because it gave you perspective and, getting those dark jokes in?
Well, sorry to answer your question, and I'm not, but that is the reason I wanted to bring up the podcast, because I feel like you do you focus on horror films. All right, now go.
So no, I don't think I guess it gave a little, this is going to sound so up my own ass too, but like a little perspective because, I don't know, you see how bad stuff can get and how quickly it can get that way. Like, again, there was one patient we were taking her home to be on hospice because 2 weeks earlier she was riding around on a John Deere tractor and thought, oh, I'm just constipated, and went in and they were like, you have cancer everywhere.
Oh.
So it was like, and that woman was gone in, several weeks and, I guess patient, I shouldn't say woman, patient was gone several weeks, but I think, we don't really follow up, but the way it was going, it was looking that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get, like you see that stuff and it's like, oh man, that can go south quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I sound so dumb. I'm sorry.
No, it doesn't sound dumb at all. But it's one of those things, like once I became a mom, like before I was a mom, I could really go dark and like be okay with joking about death and all these things, right? And then I had my son who's 7 and I can't do it anymore.
Really? Because
I have to live in this space of like complete optimism and like, he's going to live to 107 and he's going to have this fantastic life. And I have to, if I don't, like, I'll go in this deep thing, like my baby, I have to protect my baby and I have to be alive for him forever.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Puts a real damper on my gallows humor.
Well, I like, my dad joking about that stuff. I don't know. Like I said, I have found something nice in that, something maybe beautiful out of that experience. And it makes me feel, I don't know if it makes me feel closer to him or like better about the situation, but yeah, it takes a little bit of the power back, I guess.
Yeah.
So one thing I notice, and I see a line between them, is your ability to kind of be neutral in this EMT scenario, and then in your podcast, as the role you're playing is kind of a reporter, someone who is neutral, who's basically visiting the scene of a mass killing, a horror, terrible thing, and you maintain that humor and neutrality and almost medical detachment. So I
never thought about it like that. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah. So yes, you do. I'm answering Jaime. Next question.
Wow. I love that you can, this man can speak for anybody and you'll believe him.
Buddy, I need you, man. There's nothing that makes me more uncomfortable than talking about myself.
Oh, I'm on your team.
So
I'm here. I'm available for junkets.
Let me ask you this. Where in your world did the EMS, EMT work come in? Because at some point you went back to comedy and then you were in Chicago. Is that after, or did you come back from
Chicago? So
EMT is after Chicago.
I was working it in 2018, right before I moved to LA.
Oh, get out. How many years were you working it?
Not long, because I had done the class again in, I would say maybe 6 months prior to that, or maybe a year prior to that. So not long. I'd only worked I think from March to September of 2018. So not long.
Okay. So you were in Chicago. So you went from Second City, Detroit to Second City, Chicago. Mm-hmm. So you were on the path to doing this comedy and touring for full time.
Yeah, I pretty much did when I was in Chicago. We were lucky to tour a bunch, so I was always on the road. So that's kind of what I did exclusively. And then some, like we did some resident shows in the Up Theater that was there. But I was doing that.
And then what happened?
I think it kind of met, like I think is, in the system, like you obviously want to get a resident company, and that, that didn't happen for me. And I sort of had to kind of figure out what was next. And I did a bunch of the boats and like I said, those runs in the theater. So I was doing stuff in the space. I was doing comedy and acting, but I hadn't done the. I don't know. I'm sure other people have described it better, but felt like a move forward with with the career.
And then go ahead, Jason.
I was going to say, and then like regardless, everybody whether they got the main stage or ETC or they didn't get it, everyone hits that point where like, oh, it's time to move on.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I mean, because that would have come to a natural end too if I had done that as well. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mean, some comedians stay on ships forever. I don't know about Second City comedians, but you've got those stand-ups that are like lifers on the ships.
But are they still comedians or are they just part of the furniture at some point?
Did you ever work with Sharkbait?
Yeah. Oh, sure. Sean and
Max.
Sean and Max. Yes.
Those guys had it figured out, man.
Yeah. I still keep in touch a little bit with Sean and Bex from time to time.
Oh, nice. I remember somebody said one time, like, they were like, they both get paid what we all get paid in a week, right? And we're like, we got to learn to juggle.
Yeah.
This is insane.
That is exactly what Brett did. He and I went to their clinic, and I'm like, "You're really picking this up?" He's like, "Yeah, man, comedy doesn't pay."
That's amazing.
Right. He's right. Juggling's where it's at.
We're going to have Brett on the show because you guys are talking about Brett so much. In fact, I'm going to write that down right now.
Yeah.
But also, 2018-ish is when I met you, not in person, but for a side hustle. And so were you finished? We can talk about that in a second. The thing that Shelby talked about, but not mentioned. The
sex work that you both do.
I'm trying to remember because I was actually doing the new hire interviews and doing the thing. So when I interviewed you, I'm trying to remember if you told me that you were an EMT or not.
God, Jamie, I don't remember.
I don't either, because I feel like I would have put that in your profile, like this guy's an EMT, give him medical jargon.
Yeah, maybe I don't. I guess I must. I don't know. I guess I didn't.
I don't think you did, and I think you were still in Detroit, but you were about to move. Would that be?
I think that's right as well. Because after I left EMS, I took several weeks off so I could do. There's two dogs going nuts next door. I'm sorry. So I could do like Thanksgiving with my family. And then I drove out to LA. So it must have been in that time.
So one thing I just want to say about the thing I can mention but not say is that I got to do a lot of, I'm going to call it voiceover work with Adam without ever meeting him. And we get to play these characters and these roles. And I got to tell you, he's the only person I've told our boss before, like, I really just want to work with people like Adam and Bieber, because I'm just like, so many people make it so hard. And I'm like, I need a pro. I like to work with the pros.
I want you to know that everything you've said completely fits in with sex work.
Okay, well, that's it. So, Adam, I saw that you also recently got married. Did you?
I did.
Hey, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
and did you come out to LA for that, or did you come out and meet your beautiful wife, or what happened?
I was single, driving to Los Angeles with and
you were like, I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to be an actor. Yeah.
I was mostly on the last day. I was just tired and I wanted to get home or get to my place. So I drove in. I had dinner with my buddy and his wife. And then we went to a holiday party, and I was in town for 3 hours, and that's where I met her. I met her at this party we were at.
On your first day?
My God,
my first day. I'd been in town for 3 hours.
Ah, what a welcome.
Yeah.
You've been together ever since.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so sweet.
And I bet you smelled amazing.
Oh my God. I was so like greasy, and I had the same ratty t-shirt on for like 2 days.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And you were like, but I'm 6'4". So
well, she said she saw me walk in, and it's hard to miss. I got a big head, and like, I had a big dome. And my buddy was, much taller than my buddy, so I just stood out over him.
I'm sure you stood out over all the actors in that room. It's a very short town.
It
I'm
is.
just saying.
What's Tom Cruise, like 5'4"? Isn't that right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Which makes me feel good because I'm 5'5". So I'm like, well, got one on him.
You could play opposite Tom Cruise. I could only play a bad guy in a Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah, because you're 6 feet. You're tall too.
And Adam, you're completely out of frame.
I'd have to be like one of those aliens in those alien movies he does.
Yeah.
You'd be hunched over like you're in the EMT
That's
truck
right.
the whole
Yeah.
time.
For sure.
But I do feel like hopefully you have EMT on your resume, because I feel like you should be working like any of the 911s. Like you already know what to do.
True.
I think I was the only guy in Chicago who didn't get on one of those shows.
Well,
God
they're
damn
shooting
it.
it here. They're shooting it here.
I know.
Do you
You'd
know
be
what people
perfect
tell
for
me all
Lone
the
Star.
time? Yeah. Do you know what people tell me all the time? You do look like a Texan. So people tell me all the time, if you have not been on a Law and Order, then you're not a professional actor. They've never even auditioned me. And I'm like, well,
What?
fuck all of you. I've never auditioned for a Law and Order.
I haven't
Like-
either.
Yeah.
I forget that. What was that? That casting house in Chicago. I forget her name, but she was bizarre. I was auditioning for Chicago Fire, and the role was video game nerd who won't leave his apartment during a fire. And I was like, I've got this. Like, there's no one else who's gonna beat me. This is mine. So I go in and I start doing the thing. I start doing the sides, and she stops me and she gives me a note about the scene, which I was very grateful for. So I take the note, I reset, I do it all over again. Scene ends. She's quiet, I would say, for like 15 seconds. And then she goes, you ever think about doing sitcoms? And I went, sure, I guess. And that was it. And then the audition was over. I was excused, and I never heard back from anybody from Chicago Fire.
Wow.
That is exactly how it happens all the time.
You just
It's
loved
like,
you've got great timing. It's just
you've
not.
had great timing, but we're
not
not gonna
Chicago
cast you
Fire
on
timing.
this.
What a dumb. Have I ever thought about? Yes, I'll do a sitcom. Sure.
Sure. Are you offering?
Yeah.
Is there something
I'd
in
love to
your
be on a sitcom.
queue?
You could go into any of these accounting offices and ask the same question,
Yeah.
and someone will say yes.
Well,
Absolutely.
I'm going to be honest. While I hate the self-tape, one, because I don't want to look at myself, because an audition is not
Mhm.
actually what you look like on camera. It's not an audition is so stupid, but nonetheless, I like the self-tape because then I don't have to deal with the casting director asking me questions like that, giving me hope, false hope about anything. Anything.
I did one and it was an improvised self-tape, and Allie asked me, how did it go? I was like, I don't know. I think it went okay. I sent it in. So we'll see.
My very favorite casting director question, backhanded compliment was, "Wow, why aren't you working more?" I'm like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Am I getting this? No, that's why.
That's why.
It's true. A director
You know
that's an Emmy award-winning director, mentor of mine that I respect and adore. She finally pulled me aside one time and she said, I don't know why you don't work. And I was like, I don't either. Do you have any pull? And she's like, I don't. Casting like just is their own thing. And I was like, this town sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I totally appreciate that. Like, auditioning is the worst thing ever. I feel like as long as I have to audition, I'll never book a job.
Well, it's that same mentality, like the grade A and back in Michigan mentality of like, well, your friend's on TV. How come they don't get you on TV?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't
Right.
work like that.
But
Jamie,
it did.
you know
It
so
did
many.
work for you. You got to do Tim's show.
You got to do Tim's show, which is great.
That is true. I did get to do Tim's show.
Congratulations on that.
Thanks. It was, I'm so happy for that dude. Man, I'm so.
Oh,
so
yeah.
happy.
And
But
I
he
only
shoots in Detroit, right? Or no?
No. I think you should leave. We shot out here.
Oh, it does shoot out here. For some reason, I thought they said it shot in Detroit.
I was looking at it because you were coming on, and I was just and for the first time, I looked again at the title of the show and realized there's no comma. So it's not, I think you should leave with Tim Robinson. It's, I think you should leave with Tim Robinson.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's intentional.
It's a
Obviously.
very good title.
It's amazing. Jason is obsessed with this show. Like,
I am. It's so funny.
Obsessed.
It makes you very uncomfortable, which also gives
it's
me a
supposed
fun
to
time.
do.
Yeah.
I mean-
It's great. It's watching that show for me and having Jamie come in is a little like getting caught masturbating. Because I'm like, get out, I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
It takes subversive to a new level. Like, I feel like there needs to be a word stronger than that to define the show, but everyone's seen it. Everybody knows the show. So I don't have to like get into any details. And I've watched episodes, but there are sometimes I have to leave because my anxiety from watching it gets to the point where I'm like, I need to go on the treadmill or hula hoop right now. Like, I can't, there's so much energy in me that I can't.
Yeah.
I have to go. Excuse me. It's anxious.
Yeah.
It makes me anxious.
Sure.
But I love it.
Anxious too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really good.
Are you recurring on this season, or you did one
I
episode?
I just did one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You just did your. It was just your first one.
It was just your first one.
Hey,
it can be
You're
more.
part of the ensemble now.
yeah.
Mhm.
I'll watch Connor O'Malley hold a dog while it barks at Tim anytime they need me to.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Bring back the bits.
Yeah.
So let's talk. I had one more question about EMS. Maybe we have a lot of questions, but I had one. You had the basic license.
Yeah.
Can you use the paddles?
No, we don't have those. We didn't have those on our truck. I think that's more of a medic thing.
That's a
What-
okay.
Okay, but what about the shot if somebody's having a drug overdose?
Oh yeah.
Narcan?
Of
Narcan. You have the Narcan.
Yeah, we had Narcan in our truck, I think.
Nice.
yeah.
Because apparently, opioids they were just going gangbusters.
Everywhere.
Yeah. So I think
Well, if you were doing Ann
an
Arbor, you would have gotten some Ypsilanti calls, and I feel like,
Yeah.
But you were doing transport. You weren't like first on the scene for medical emergencies.
No, the only time that ever happened was after a U of M game. We got called to
Of course.
a group of students, I guess, where they were kind of fearful of an OD. But then we met up with like a medic unit, and then they kind of took over.
Yeah. He yacked and rallied.
when I was a freshman in college at Michigan State, I had 3 roommates in my dorm room, and it sucked, and they were terrible. And I had to call 911 because one of their friends was visiting, and he OD'd, and he was like foaming at the mouth. I walked in, and they were all so drugged out that they weren't doing anything. Like they didn't. I mean, they were just like lounging on the couch, and this guy was like literally convulsing and foaming. He was having a seizure,
Pulling an Uncle Jim.
and I called. Right, they were pulling Uncle Jim, Uncle Dr. Jim.
Uncle Dr. Jim.
I called 911, and then I left. I didn't stay. Like when I called 911, I was like, I'm worried about staying because I was 18 and very naive. And I was like, what do I do? And they're like, well, sit with him till EMS comes and then go. So I did. And then I left because I was like, if he dies, I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared to watch a person die yet in my life. Like it was like literally the first month of school.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they don't cover that till after winter break.
Apparently he survived, but that's true. He survived, but he was in Sparrow Hospital in Lansing for months in a coma.
Whoa.
Ooh.
What was he doing? What was he taking?
I don't know. I think it was acid, but I think he'd taken too much acid.
Oh my God. Was this in Cedar Village?
Oh, I've taken too much acid. That's not what happens.
It was not. It was in Acres. It was not in Cedar Village. It was in Acres.
I know Acres. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Acres. They were terrible. It was terrible. I hated Acres. I was like, really? Acres?
Yeah,
This sucks.
my buddy Nick went to Michigan State, so we'd go up there to party.
Mm-hmm.
And Cedar Village was the big one.
Yeah, everyone I knew was in Cedar Village. I was glad I wasn't in Cedar Village because do you guys hear my stomach?
That was your stomach?
I'm going to eat this bar
I'm
inappropriately.
worried about you.
Eat it.
All right.
Yes.
While Jamie's feeding the beast and avoiding a Snickers moment, were you doing comedy in college?
Yes.
Okay. And were you waiting tables or working in food service in college?
No, I think I started working in food service right out of college. When I was in college, I was working at an Eddie Bauer, which I forgot about.
Yes, you did.
So I worked in an Eddie Bauer.
The
That was my
retail
college
detail.
job. Oh God! And then my first
Which
serving
Eddie
job was
Bauer? What college?
in Briarwood Mall in Ann Arbor.
Oh, did you go to U of M?
I went to Eastern.
Oh, that's great. My dad went to Eastern too. Keep
I
going.
really wanted to go to U of M, but I screwed around too much in high school, so
That's what he said.
yeah. So, but yeah, that's what I was doing. I was working at Eddie Bauer, doing comedy, and going to class.
Standard,
Huh?
pretty standard.
Pretty standard stuff. Yeah, pretty.
I mean-
it's all pretty textbook standard
And
stuff.
was it? Were you doing improv comedy?
Yeah, there was a theater in Ann Arbor called the Improv Inferno,
Yeah.
which was opened by Dan Izzo and Sabrina Harper. They were there in Ann Arbor, and then Second City was still around. It was in Novi, so I was doing stuff there and at the Planet Ant in Hamtramck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you know Margaret Edwardowski, right?
Oh yeah, yep,
Yeah. She was on the show too.
yeah, she's great.
Hello. She's the
But
best.
I met Margaret there. That's where I met Brett. That's where I met Tim.
Mm-hmm.
We were all
That's
kind of
great.
there at the same
At the
time.
at the Ant or at Novi? Or both?
I
guess they're
met-
both at Novi.
I met them when the theater was still on Woodward in downtown
Yeah.
Detroit. So
Yeah.
Okay.
that's where we met. And then, they were, I think, Tim and they were on main stage, Tim, Brett, Jamie, and Novi,
Yeah.
if I'm remembering that correctly.
Sam was there.
Sam was there. Yeah.
Nice. So you
I feel like you're just tripping down memory lane, Jason, and you weren't in the Detroit.
no, very
like
much
you're
so,
from New York.
These are all
You
like
met them all here in
these are all
LA.
implanted memories
Mhm.
that I'm
Well,
experiencing.
yeah, I'm sure you talk to enough Detroit people. They all probably start to just bleed together.
Well, that's a
Yeah.
funny thing because I didn't do improv or do any of that. Like I said, I left very quickly after college and drove out to California. So when I started dating Jason, he's like, "Oh, you must know all the Detroit crew." And because I did the Second City writing program here in Los Angeles. And he was like, "Oh, so you must know the Detroit crew." And I was like, "I am the Detroit crew. What are you talking about?" And I did not know any of these people. I was like, "Bitch, I left like at 22. I was out. I was
That's
like,
funny.
diploma, I'm gone." Yeah, so I have no idea. And like the fact that he's closer and knows more about Detroit than me sometimes because of these people, I'm like, shh,
You're
you're
faking
not
it,
from
Jason.
there. He wears Detroit Pride t-shirts.
That you
Oh,
bought
man.
me.
I'm just saying, you still wear them.
Allie's from Toronto, and I have a Blue Jays hat. So
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I got it. I did get it before I met her, but it's still like,
Did
Does
you
she
wear
have a
it to
day
the
job?
party?
Is she an actor?
she is, yes. She's Second City Toronto as well. Toronto main stage, and now she's an actor as well.
Allie, wait.
Wait a second.
Allie Price.
Wait a second. Does she do the thing that we do? Did I talk to her on
yes,
the phone?
yes,
Oh my God, I know her because I talked to
Yes.
her on the phone too. Oh my God, y'all.
yes.
Y'all, it's a tight circle.
Can I ask you guys? So the first couple of jobs with the thing that we do, I don't know how well because I didn't understand the format all completely.
Oh, see? Yeah.
Yeah. So I had one where I was being referred to, and I didn't know that I was, and they got mad at me.
They
Wait.
get over it.
Yeah.
Wait, I missed that. That just went over my head. What happened?
I'll tell you afterwards because it was just a misunderstanding of what was happening.
Oh, okay.
So something was happening that I didn't know that was supposed to be happening, and I blew it.
Like every good character actor, sometimes you forget you're playing a character.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So after
That was
school,
bad. I'm sorry.
we didn't talk about your Eddie Bauer days, but and I don't know if there's anything to even say about your Eddie Bauer days. Just folding pants.
Folding pants.
Yeah.
That was it.
Doesn't count. It doesn't count.
Okay.
It's college. It doesn't count.
You fold your pants your whole way through school, and then you get out and you break into the big wide world of food service.
Yeah.
Food service by day, maybe even by night, but then comedy later at night.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I know you were working at one chain restaurant, but it sounds to me like you maybe worked around at a bunch of different. Like, what were you doing?
I worked at one chain right out of college, and I worked there for several years. That's why I had saved up money to move to Chicago, working there.
And you were a superstar
At the restaurant?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I did okay. I can say the name of the place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked at a Carrabba's and I was a Miko of the month, which is, employee of the month for the layman.
Amico.
Yeah. So my name was on the plaque.
Wow.
Wow. When
Nice.
I go someplace and I see an employee's name on a plaque, I'm like, wow, they're a lifer.
Honestly, I think they just give it. They just like whoever didn't get it in a while, they just give it to them that month.
That's great. I think that's funny.
There's no meritocracy here.
Same thing happens in Jack's second grade class. Everyone gets a turn.
Eventually.
Mm.
But I think what I'm most interested in is that you had this experience with your dad and all the things that had led up to it. You were about to give up on the goal.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to figure out, all those things we didn't listen to when we were younger, like you can't make a living at this. Like, what are you going to do for a living? This is like a pastime or how people go to the gym, you go and you do comedy,
Right.
But it's not, but that's how a lot of people outside of artists feel about it. And at some point you decided when your dad gave you the okay to come to LA and pursue it in the big city. I mean, Chicago's a big city, but it's narrow in terms of how much you can really expand, as you found out. So you come to LA to go that distance. Did you have a job when you showed up in LA, or were you like, I'm going to wing it and then I'm going to find something?
I did not. I had saved up money working EMS for the summer. Not the summer, but for that time.
You sound like a college kid still for the
doesn't
summer.
it? That I know when I worked there for the summer. No, I had saved up money, so I was living off those savings, and then I started. The first thing I got paid to do is I started teaching at Second City, the LA Training Center. So
great,
yeah,
because all those Detroit people infiltrated,
correct, yeah.
and they run it.
Yeah.
No, I think it's great. I mean, and that's how people get ahead in this town. It is who you know, and how. If they have opportunity that they're allowed to disperse, that is a big part of it. You have to bring it, the talent, and you have to be qualified, but it is that whole thing where opportunity is talent and whatever else. I don't know what I'm saying.
And also Josh doesn't like to have to vet people too hard.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, I think anybody in this industry, because LA is one of those things. The first year I was here, I didn't know anybody. By the time the year ended, I knew I had 50 best friends. And out of 50 best friends, 49 of them moved back to their home state to do God knows what. And I ended up with one, and it's constantly starting over. So it's hard to vet people. It's hard to, guarantee someone's going to be there for the long haul, when you're hiring or finding a roommate, for God's sakes. It's tough. It's a tough town.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first place I had. I lived in Highland Park, and I found those people.
Us too.
We
lived in Highland Park. We sold our place and moved to La Crescenta.
Highland Park's great.
It is.
But yeah, I found them through my friend Liz, who I toured with, who was living out here, and had met them, and so I found them through my friend Liz, and then the Detroit people at the training center. So yeah,
we could have been hanging out when you first moved here. God damn it, Adam!
I blew it.
So pissed.
Everybody says this. I'm not saying anything new, but this is a big ass city.
It's really big.
It's a big city in a small town.
Yeah. And sometimes it feels like the whole joke about everybody being 6 or 7 degrees from Kevin Bacon. Anybody who's been here for at least 5 years, you're 6 or 7 degrees from them.
Yes.
All of a sudden, everybody, or you have 300 friends in common, so you should know them, like you and Bieber. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. It is a small town, but it's a big city.
Are you still teaching at the training center?
I am, yes.
Okay. And
are you doing that remotely? Online?
Yeah, it's all everything
online?
From LA is online.
Because did I hear correctly that the theater sold?
I don't know. It's not there anymore. I don't know what the arrangement was, but yeah, the LA space is no longer there.
Yeah.
Jeez, that bums me out.
So sad. I was there when they opened that space.
Yeah.
When they moved from the Improv.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't realize,
Adam has no idea.
I know. I know. like it was nice to have that space. You didn't think about it because I did this all the time in Chicago. Like there would be some nights if you were bored, you could just go up to Second City,
You
you
just
go up
go.
to the Annoyance, and you'd
Yeah.
see somebody or get roped into doing a show or something. And it was that space there in Hollywood. Well, maybe not in the greatest like spot. It was still nice to have that hub.
Absolutely. Especially when, I don't know if you were here when IO was still open, but
I
then,
missed it.
yeah, I mean, that was an amazing time because there was like, it almost felt a little, Chicago, New York-ish, where it's like, oh, there's more than one place and you can walk back and forth between them. And we've got a couple of bars that we go to right there. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
What was it, like
you
a
know,
block away or 2 blocks away or
two,
something?
two, yeah, 2
Well,
blocks
it's,
away.
it's
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Two-
even,
two-
but, and there were, very scantily dressed women walking the boulevard everywhere in between. So, you leave the
Sure.
building like a taste of
Yeah.
something else.
The only problem is, and lots of pizza by the slice places, but the only
Yeah.
problem was the smell of vomit that was
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
permeating the
Yeah.
street there. And I was
Yeah, I
like,
could never smell the vomit over the sewer.
it's funny. My mom and I brought my mom, and she was like, do I smell vomit? And I was like, well, you would know. She had 4 kids, that's all. But yeah,
Allie and I were walking the boulevard one day and we saw this tourist family and their little girl. She wanted a picture of somebody's star. And she was wearing she was wearing shorts and a little t-shirt and like her legs and her like belly were on the sidewalk. It was like, buddy, should I say something? But she looked so happy. I didn't want to take that from her. So I just let it go.
I
You
would have
hand
told
her
the
your
dad
bottle
to
of Purell
Lysol,
and
yeah.
walk on.
Yeah. Good
Lysol
luck, kid.
her. Oh my
Oof.
God.
And
I've seen
that
people do
was
that too.
How you caught chlamydia in LA.
Yeah.
Oh, Jason.
What
a
I
little
did with my
girl.
summer vacation.
Oh, so gross. So you're teaching full time at Second City online, or you also you're acting, you're booking,
Yeah.
you are teaching
Yes.
improv.
Yep. Teaching improv. Yeah. Doing some commercial stuff. Just got back
Great.
from Mexico doing another one. So yeah, that's pretty much that's what I'm doing. Teaching not
And
full
you-
time though. I only have a couple of classes there.
And you and I do voiceover and Jason a couple
Yes,
times
we do.
a month.
Yes.
And then I keep forgetting this is video. I don't look at myself, like I hide me, so I have no idea. Like I'm sitting here like pulling hairs off my shirt. I'm an actor. I should get better at this.
That's why I have this set up the way that I do. So I hide as
You
much
can
as
see
blocking your
yourself.
whole face.
Yes,
Yeah.
I hate looking at
Perfect.
myself.
You're smart.
I stress so much about like, should I wear a hat? Should I not wear a
Oh.
hat? Should I?
You're so cute.
No.
Put your face out there.
No.
You're so
God.
cute. And the Buddy Holly glasses that are like on trend, but like, popularized, modernized. They're so cute.
I think you guys
And I
both
can't
look
believe
great. I have you minimized. I take up the full screen.
This
That's
is true
awesome,
for
man.
Jason. Jason does do that. And he's very handsome, so I let him get away with it.
He is
because-
very handsome. You got a great
is-
beard, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
stop.
But I do have to color his hair and beard because all of a sudden overnight they became gray. And I was like, that's unacceptable. Just kidding. I'm telling you.
See,
Well,
I think
you
the
know.
gray in the beard you look very cool. I wish I could grow a beard. I can't.
Oh, because you're blonde?
I think. I don't know. I can't grow a beard. I'm thinning. It's driving me nuts.
No. I put Rogaine on my eyebrows.
Do
so
you?
Maybe it would.
I don't
Yeah.
do that.
I like big bushy eyebrows and I'm blonde. So I'm like, well, and the fact that I know your wife, well, I don't know her. She probably won't even remember interviewing with me, but I remember her because I remember all my favorite people.
I'm certain she will.
And I'm so excited. I'm going to have her on the show now. God damn it.
Yeah.
Are you doing any other side hustles while you're there? Or is it all just like now you're actually working in the things that you're passionate for?
I've been lucky, like at least commercial stuff. I've been lucky enough to book enough things to where I've been,
That's the hustle.
yeah,
That's
I've
the
been,
bread and butter
for
now.
the time frame. I'm doing okay.
That's so great. See, it wasn't a mistake to come to LA. Your
It
dad was
wasn't.
right.
It wasn't.
No, you got a wife on the first day.
Yeah. No matter what, I mean, that's the best part of coming to LA. If that would have been it right there, I'd have been okay.
I love that you had to go all the way from Detroit to LA to meet someone from Toronto.
That's pretty.
I spent how many years in Michigan not realizing that Chicago is the same amount of time away as Toronto is from Detroit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
That's why my
totally
parents never go to Chicago. They always go to Toronto. They take
Yeah.
the train. It's crazy.
I never realized it.
Yeah. Well, but you did go to Canada when you turned 19, didn't you? I mean, everybody went to Canada.
Yeah,
when
what
they
did we
turned
do? We went to
19.
Jokers. We went to what
Something
was
with a cherry. Was there something with
Don
a cherry?
Cherry's? Was that
Yeah.
Don Cherry's? And then there was that Irish pub, Patrick O'Ryan's. Hit the casino. Yeah, we went with all my trash bag friends. Went over there. We were 19.
My sister took me, and I was like, I don't like this. I don't want to come back.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But the drinking age in Canada, folks that don't know, is 19. So if you live in Detroit, you can just hop the bridge or take the tunnel, and you're
And then it was super easy to get across. All you needed was a driver's license.
just a driver's license, and then they'd see that it was your 19th birthday, and they'd be like, "Welcome to Canada." There's no question.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about the 19 drinking age. I never, ever hear anyone talk about the fact that you only had to be 16 to go to a strip club.
I didn't know.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Holy
it was.
cow.
It was when I was 9 and had this beard.
That's inappropriate. Was that true, Jason? For real?
Yeah.
16 years old?
I went on like a summer camp trip to Montreal, and I was not 16. I was 9, but there were 16-year-old. The oldest kids were 16, 15, and looked 16, and they went to the club.
They were lying to you. I think it's 19.
Well, because it was a no drinking club, where you could go and not drink, but still,
see naked women,
see the naked ladies.
Well,
So
isn't
we get a bunch
Montreal
of
French?
16-year-olds, we get a bunch of 19-year-olds, and we go to try to figure this out.
You realize you just pitched human trafficking on this show of minors for sex acts.
Let me just say,
Oh, shit.
side hustle. Side hustle. The name of the show is Make That Paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. This is it.
Do you have a Walmart truck we could use?
Yeah,
I
they'll
can
sleep on
poke some
blue
holes in-
tarps.
No one will expect a thing. No one's going that way.
Come on. We don't even talk about that on the news anymore. There's other stuff going on.
Don't worry, they can't vote.
How much money do you think we could make?
A lot.
Jamie, you have no idea how untapped the getting kids into strip clubs market is.
Look, I didn't. My wife's Canadian. Those people are sick. We can get,
Okay. Listen, I'm really into crime. I write crime novels, but I get inspiration from true crime. Canadians, that's some sick shit. Their crimes, that
hog farmer guy.
No.
That hog farmer guy. Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus. What about the guy that was like showing the murders on YouTube and saying they weren't real? And like, I don't know. They finally found him and they were like, oh, these were real. Like body parts were
my God.
everywhere.
You know what?
Hey, this isn't a Halloween store.
We've jumped into this territory, so I feel comfortable saying this. I know I don't condone what Hog Guy did in Canada. I don't at all. I think it's terrible.
It's terrible.
But how did he get caught? Because it's kind of a bulletproof scheme. Those hogs will eat anything.
Yeah.
Well, this is why I don't eat pig.
This was
number
important.
one.
Was the Silence of the Lambs sequel?
Hannibal.
Hannibal.
Yeah.
It was an important part of Hannibal. The hogs that would eat the bodies.
Yeah, and this isn't a new thing. I mean, killing people and feeding them to the hogs has been going on for hundreds of years. Frankly,
Deadwood did
it's Oh, Deadwood did it. It did.
I'm sorry. I feel like I took this in a bad direction.
No,
I feel like we've actually landed right on the subject of your podcast.
Look at that crossover.
Yeah.
That crossover beauty. It's a beautiful thing. I'm so excited. This is great.
We just meandered into your wheelhouse.
All right, let's do it. Yeah,
Which happens to also double as a slaughterhouse.
Let's do the sick stuff now. I'm better at this.
It's a side hustle. It technically counts. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Oh my God. Oh my face
Boy,
hurts.
Adam Peacock's episode was good, but it really came alive in minute 58 where you guys started talking murder and internationally transmitting kids to strip clubs.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
we will let you go in a second, but first of all, do you read horror books also?
Yeah.
Okay. Because my favorite horror book right
Good
now
stuff.
is
Yeah.
no, it's Stephen Graham Jones, My Heart is a Chainsaw. It is so good. I don't know if you've read it, but that would be a great one.
It's a
to
love
do.
letter to horror movies.
Yeah, it's so good.
How do you know what? I think I have an Audible credit, so maybe I'll get the Audible book.
Get the Audible book. Stephen Graham Jones is a genius. He's almost as big as what's that other guy that's big? Stephen King.
Dean Koontz?
King. Yeah, Dean Koontz. He's as big as Dean Koontz.
Dean Koontz has got made. Man, that guy.
Yeah, I can't say his name with a straight face, but yes. Dean Koontz.
Dean Koontz.
Even if you're not a reader and you've never read one of his books, it's Dean Koontz. So it's like everybody knows who he is.
You've seen it in an airport.
Yeah, he's a household name.
Yeah.
I want to be a household name.
Good on
you. Don't have to have watched anything.
What are you reading there? That Dean Koontz?
Yeah. Getting ready to fly to Atlanta.
You walk by those libraries that people have at the end of their yard. It's got children's books and a couple, literary novels or, literature. And then there's Dean Koontz. And the Dean Koontz is always there. Nobody's taking the Dean Koontz.
But it's also the most thumbed one. It's like
it is.
Yeah. I've never read one of his books. I should read one of his books.
Let's read it. Let's all three read his book and do a book club podcast.
The Dean
Koontz Club. We're doing it. See if Allie wants to jump in.
She's a ferocious reader, so I'm sure she's in.
We're doing it. I just want to say I'm so thankful for you, Adam.
Oh, thanks.
This was like great. You're so wonderful. You're exactly how everyone described you. When I had all these people referring you for the other thing, and I was like, he is so great, and I want to consider him a friend, and I appreciate you being here.
Yes, I hope this was okay. Nice. I hope, yeah, great. If I violated any HIPAA violations, I'm sorry. I'll pay the fine.
No, we'll look them up and make sure. We'll look it up and make sure, because in editing, we don't ever want to. Well, you know what? HIPAA? Fuck them. Fuck healthcare. Yeah. Let's start another subject.
Fuck healthcare. Fuck that dead lady who carved up her front porch. Fuck all of them. You know what?
I'm on top. Guess who wins? I win because I'm still alive.
Our dead dads gave us permission, so fuck you guys.
White boy privilege.
Oh my God. 10,000 years of my dead white dad gave me permission.
I have faced zero adversity. I'm on top.
You think a reckoning's coming? You don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
Can't talk anymore.
Now I feel bad. I took it in another one. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
All in the hogs.
Okay.
All in the hogs.
I love you both. This is my favorite.
Thanks for having me. This is so fun.
She sold on Monday, made love on Tuesday. By Wednesday she was down. We fought on Thursday, made up on Friday, but now I'm losing ground. You call me lazy, you think I'm crazy, so why'd you come around? She want my money, but I got no money. This ain't no savings and loans. You call me lazy, you think I'm crazy, so why'd you come